Hello, I'm Fantastic and today I'm going to be bringing you an Arena, Colosseum, and World of Carnage / Shura Realm mechanics checklist. So, Puzzle and Dragons is a tremendously deep game, and the biggest problem with it, in my opinion, is that it does a poor job of actually conveying information to the players. Basically, you enter a dungeon blind. You have absolutely no idea what could possibly happen, which in turn makes team building tremendously difficult because there are so many different kinds of mechanics and different solutions that you may or may not necessarily have to bring. So for myself, what I like to do whenever I approach a dungeon is I go through a mental checklist of all the mechanics that are avoidable versus unavoidable and what is lethal and not lethal, so on and so forth. And generally speaking, you try and prioritize the mechanics that are unavoidable, things that are going to happen that you need to have a solution for. Those should be the priority. And there will obviously be other mechanics that are dangerous, of course, but the need to counter them may be lower. So I kind of put them as like lower priority or unavoidable perhaps because maybe they don't necessarily spawn. And sometimes you might just even have to just take a gamble and that hopefully that say 25% chance for that spawn does not appear, so on and so forth. But so then, with that in mind, I decided to put together checklists for all the different dungeons. And I've done it for all the arenas, the alt arenas, both Colosseums, Shura Realm / World of Carnage 1 and 2, as well as the alt version for 2. So, in order to understand the charts I'm going to make, I'm just going to give you a quick little reference guide. So basically, I will list the mechanic that you need to counter and then the floor that it appears on. If that floor number has an asterisk or star beside it, it means it's guaranteed to spawn or guaranteed to occur. You can't avoid it, so on and so forth. It's just something you are going to encounter and have to deal with. And then at the same time, I'm going to have check marks for things like poison resist, blind resist, etc. If it's a check mark, you really want to bring it. If it's a squiggly line, it's nice to have, but not necessarily a priority. And X's, it's not relevant or it's just not something that's going to be of a concern for yourself. And I'm also going to assume you have follow-up attack / auto follow-up leader, like you're just going to have one of those things. You'll have L and VDP equivalent, and I'll list like any notable void spawn that's something that might be problematic. So as a generic template from here, this says that you need an unable to match up effect clear. It's 5+ turns on floor 3, and it's going to occur. And then there's a color absorb of 5 turns on floor 4, but it doesn't necessarily occur. So that's how you can kind of read my charts. And you'll need poison resist and cloud resist for this hypothetical dungeon. So what's going to possibly be more helpful is I'm just going to jump down to possibly a dungeon that most people would want to try and tackle and address, which would be World of Carnage 1 or Shura 1. And I'm going to do the alt version because it is the version you want to be playing on a regular basis. Again, I have listed out all the different mechanics for all the different stuff. So if you're playing through, say, Alt Arena 4, these are all the wonderful things you should try and bring. And I'm not going to narrate every single thing because it's probably just easier to go through on your own. But for the sake of just educating in case my charts may be confusing, I'll go through one of the examples with you, ladies and gentlemen. So for World of Carnage 1, things you must bring is 150% gravity counter, which will always occur on floor 16. So you'll need a 34% damage reduction or greater in order to survive. It should be reasonably easy to do, but it's something you just need to be aware of in case you're using a team of only flat HP. There are multiple different color absorbs in the dungeon. There will be 3 turns of water on floor 1, which is guaranteed to spawn, and it is lethal. So water teams will suffer. There's 10 turns for fire and wood on floor 6, not a guaranteed spawn, but something to be aware of. And then there will be 10 turns of a random 1 on floor 22, and that's guaranteed to occur. So you don't know which color is going to be randomly absorbed, but it's beneficial to be able to counter it. You want to have an awoken bind clear of at least 5 turns for floor 13, which of course may or may not spawn. You need to have a solution to floor 3's full board of dark orbs. After Lucifer's test, you'll have a board of only dark orbs. So it's beneficial to have some way to deal with it because the floor afterwards is problematic, floor 3 is problematic. There are damage absorb spawns. Floor 12 is a guaranteed spawn, which is problematic if you're not, you're going to die probably if you're not ready. Floor 18 may or may not appear, and floor 22 has a chance of appearing, not guaranteed. You need attack buffs for various floors. Floor 6, but it can be overcome if you have auto follow-up attack of 300,000 or more. Floor 7 is guaranteed to have an attack debuff, but you probably could just kind of grind or smash your way through it. Floor 14 has an attack debuff as well, but not guaranteed to spawn. You also need to have an unable to match orb clear. You need 3 turns of water or wood for floor 8, and one of those 2 is going to appear. So if you're a water or wood team who relies on things for activation, you want to have a counter for it. And then all colors will be unable to be matched on floor 20 for a single turn. And you need 102,000 health to tank that hit, because obviously some teams say like Sena needs fire and water orbs to actually trigger damage reduction. So if you don't have 102,000 health, probably will, you would die. So again, just build your team around that accordingly. And then you need to have high VDP damage on floor 20. It's the only notable VDP spawn, and it has 1.3 billion health and 100 million defense. So you got to make sure that VDP card hits hard. The other void spawns in this dungeon are reasonably trivial. Things that are great to have but lower priority. A counter for spinners on floor 17. I don't really think it should be really that dangerous, but some people may struggle. If it's there, if you have a solution, cool. If not, I wouldn't stress. Blind, poison, and jam resist are something that I feel that you can have, but it's not something truly needed. And I just wanted to elaborate saying that, like, if you can squeeze in your team, great. But those mechanics really don't play much a role in this dungeon. Like, World of Carnage 1 is such a forgiving dungeon from a team building point of view. It's more so about hitting hard and being able to tank large hits. And then having a delay for floor 20 will greatly ease the Yao Yu spawn. It also would help the Manoa, who has a resolve on the following floor. So delay is nice to have, but not mandatory by any means. So as mentioned already, Poison, Jammer, and Blind Resist are going to be meaningful aspects to have to counter this dungeon, but not mandatory. There's no Cloud Resist need, there's no need for Tape Resist, there is no Skill Bind on floor 1, so your transforming cards are safe. There is a leader swap, 50% chance 1 or 2 spawns to occur, and it is quite dangerous if you do get leader swap, so it's beneficial to have a solution for that. You don't need Poison Surge in this dungeon, like it might occur on Yao Yu, but it's really pretty trivial, I feel. Jammer Surge is nice to have, but not mandatory. It's nice for floor 1, and then possibly if Napoleon spawns later on, I think on floor 4 or 5. And then there is a reasonably severe 7x6 punishment. It causes super blind Skyfalls for 99 turns. It's kind of painful, kind of annoying. 7x6 also has a bit of an issue with Lucifer's floor. So basically that's the idea of how you would read these checklists. And depending on the dungeon you are currently playing through, utilize this to kind of base against the team you're trying to build and try and see if you can counter as many of the things you need to bring mechanics as possible. So with that being said, let me know what you think about this type of article in the comments below. Do you find this type of information and or resource beneficial? And if you have any suggestions for other meaningful things that I could possibly create in the future, let me know in the comments below. In regards to the question time video, Pancake and I were planning to do it together, but timing has not been friendly to us when we can do it at the same time. But hopefully tomorrow we should have time in order to record that. So at some point on Friday, I should be able to release that question time video. Either way, hopefully you'll have a fantastic day. I wish you all the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.